Hi, my name is Lindy Jung, and I am a soon-to-be traditionally published author. I write science fiction and fantasy. My debut novel is coming out fall 2026, but that's not why we're here today. This is the intro to a video that I've been so excited to film. I am still so excited to film because I am leaving to go on my first ever writing retreat with friends in New York City. So I'm going to keep this intro brief because I want the vlog to be mostly the retreat, and I'm still at home in the Midwest right now, but basically we've been planning this since last year. I'm meeting up with a friend group that I made in the early days of writing Twitter. We've actually never met in person before, like not even once. I'm also meeting up with some other folks throughout my week that I'm in New York, because for me, New York and San Francisco are like the two cities where every time I go there, I just have like 1,000 people that I need to catch up with and meet, and they usually don't know each other, so I have to meet up with them separately. But it's going to be so fun. It's currently my spring break, so I have no school obligations, and I'm going to be there for like a whole week. I love New York. I haven't been there in a really long time, and I'm kind of nervous too, so I'm packing. I don't know if you can see right now. I'll show you a little bit of my essentials for the trip and for travel in general, and then that's all there is to it. We're going to go to New York. The theme of this trip is going to be focus and community. I feel like I've been craving community recently. I think it's one of the best ways to get through any tough times, and right now times are pretty tough, and I'm so grateful for the writing community I've been able to foster online and for the people I've been able to meet up with here and there in person. And it feels so special to be able to like gather as a group of folks that I've been talking to for so long and finally spend time with them and be in person. This past week I actually finished my first read-through pass for MOTHSBLOOD, my dark academia adult fantasy. It's currently March 22nd and my revision is due to my editor on March 31st, so I'm using this week and this retreat to really like polish everything up, tie up any loose ends, and make sure that I did a good job with this revision. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on. Of course, if I finish early, then I have another project that I've been drafting called Project Crypts. It's gothic fantasy horror, mostly gothic fantasy, bit of romance. So there's a lot to get done, and I'm going to say it 1,000 times, but I am so excited. Okay, let's travel. Switching gears a little bit, I'm going to show you guys what I'll be bringing on this trip. I'm just taking like a little suitcase for my carry-on. I'm only doing a carry-on and like a personal item because I like to travel light and I hate getting checked bags if I can help it. For a week, I can definitely survive with this. Here's my modern Renaissance palette. That is like my daily kind of go-to. I also have my cleansing balm from Clean at Zero. None of this is sponsored, I wish. My COSRX just like hyaluronic acid moisturizing cream for my face. Hairbrush. Another thing I should grab is my hair socks. I wear socks in my hair at night. Writing utensils. I might throw in another journal. A book I've been reading. This is Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Milors. This was sent to me by my publisher and I'm really enjoying it so far. Although I'm a very thin amount into it, I just really have been on such a literary fiction kick. So packing that. Shampoo and conditioner I'll figure out there. I'm staying at like friends' houses, and maybe this is just me. Maybe I should ask. There's one friend I'm staying with that I like know I can just use like their stuff, shampoo and conditioner. If not, I'll just pop down somewhere and grab something cheap. Extra batteries for my Sony ZV-E10. This is also the battery charger. I got this camera, as you might remember, pretty recently as like an open box deal, and I like it, but I feel like for sit-down videos like this, I like my old Canon a lot better. This apparently is good for going out into the wild and vlogging, so I'm going to do some of that, even though it terrifies me. SD cards. My big SD card is in the Sony already. I also have this kind of adapter for my laptop, so I can, you know, check footage or start editing a video if I run out of things to do, which I never will. Pretty much nothing interesting is going to be added to this other than maybe another book to read and some journals, although, you know, we're writers. We're going to go into New York City and like go to a bookstore or several. So realistically, I'm going to come back with a more full suitcase. So maybe this goes. Yeah, so I'm going to go about with the rest of my day, and I'll catch you guys up tomorrow when I get on the plane. Hi, this is VoiceOver Lynn. So I managed to get to Brooklyn pretty early from the airport in New Jersey, and I met up with my friend JD at this Asian fusion place where we had like this amazing, flavorful lunch. Then we just kind of wandered around to kill time, so we went into this fancy grocery store that was selling all sorts of cool mushrooms and just enjoyed the weather and the sunshine. And then in the evening, we did have plans to go into Manhattan for some karaoke, which turned out to, well, it kind of turned out like this. Anyway, the next morning we woke up and braved the windy, rainy, chilly weather for some breakfast. And no, I don't normally pronounce bagels this way. I live in the Midwest and I do it to make fun of people. All right, we're getting bagels. Oh, my ears are still in. Wait, I didn't take over the ears.
I thought it was on purpose.
Nope. I mean, it's New York, so the bagels were obviously delicious, so delicious that I forgot to get any sort of footage. But then JD and I went into Manhattan because unfortunately, sadly, it was my last day with them for now, because I was going on to the next leg of my journey, which was the writing retreat. My friend Gabby and I met up at the train station, and then we headed over to Long Island together, where we met up with Eunice and Sabrina and had this amazing like ramen for lunch in the area. Honestly, it's been such a long time since I've had a good bowl of ramen, and this was it, and I was so happy. After lunch and catching up, because it was our first time meeting in person, even though we've all been talking and chatting for like years and years at this point, we all went over to a cafe that Eunice really likes and settled in for a writing session. And I'm gonna be honest, I was not super locked in for this one, but I will talk about that in the catch-up clip. Okay, so currently it is it Monday? I think it's Monday. March 24th, officially in Long Island for the writing retreat part of the writing retreat. Yesterday was more of like a travel and rest day, and today I finally met up with my writing friends. We just had a wonderful little writing session in the cafe. I think I got 3 30-minute sprints in, so it was like an hour and a half of writing. I will say I'm not as focused as I'd like to be. I feel a little bit directionless with this particular stage of the revision, so my goal is to kind of lock in a little bit more, at least get the main things that I want to get done, which includes like seeding some more setup for eventual payoffs that I tweaked. But I'm seeing some like inconsistencies and issues with the language, and that the language in some sections is actually a lot weaker than I'd like it to be, but that seems like more of a line editing issue potentially. I have a couple of days still. We're going to be working on this stuff until pretty much Thursday, and then Thursday I'm going to head back to Brooklyn to do my own thing with this writing retreat. I'm having so much fun here. Last night JD and I actually did some karaoke, which I have like a weird pathological fear of karaoke, so that was big for me. And it was just fun. Like, I don't know, I just had a great time. I had a late night slice. It was beautiful. It was perfect. Hopefully we get another writing session squeezed in for today. It's been kind of a busy day. You know, I'm tired. So maybe that's why my brain isn't quite at 100%. But hopefully it catches up soon and I can use the rest of this time to its full capacity to get this revision done before Monday. 1 more week until it's due. Bye. The next morning I got up pretty early to go for a jog, and actually it was so cute. Eunice's mom saw me and she was so concerned that I was wearing shorts, and she was like, it's cold out there, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'm from the Midwest, and I am not from the Midwest, but I did survive a Midwestern winter this past year. Sabrina and I did a really quick coffee run just on our own to get some caffeine in us, and then all of us headed out together for a writing session at the local public library, which is the nicest library I've ever seen. There was this artwork everywhere, and it had multiple stories of just like beautiful public spaces to work. So I did actually lock in for this one, and I got a couple of good sprints down. After a writing session, which lasted a couple of hours, we headed out to this local classic Long Island pizza joint. They still use a coal fire oven, and I mean, like, the pizza was absolutely delicious, and of course we had to split dessert. My friend Eunice is such a foodie and so knowledgeable about places to eat. I was really enjoying that aspect of this trip because I love to eat.
Okay.
Who doesn't?
Got a box from Ming.
Whoa! Wait, so fancy.
Oh, I think there's layers.
What the heck?
I got it. Okay. I did
There's
this
another
one.
one.
What?
3.
3.
3?
6 minutes.
Okay, wait. How are they? Okay, I have to cut the cameras.
Okay. I just woke up from an enormous nap. Now I'm going to meet up with my friends at the cafe. They've been there for like the past hour already, so I have some catching up to do, but I needed that nap. It hurt a little bit, but I needed it. We're gonna see if I can get some more progress into this MOTHS revision and clean it up a bit. Okay, so after our little cafe writing session, we rewarded ourselves with a trip to the beach and a little stroll, and then had another incredible dinner at a local Mediterranean place that treated us so well. Like, they were so nice to us and even gave us complimentary dessert at the end on top of the dessert we actually ordered, which was the best chocolate babka. Oh my gosh. Wednesday was our planned fun day in Manhattan, so we took the train over, and you can see here that I was reading Sunrise on the Reaping, the new Hunger Games prequel. I actually finished it that day while we were out because I was locked into this book. Okay, it was so serious for me. And yes, I did cry a little bit in public at the end. It happens. We're not going to talk about it, but if you have read Sunrise on the Reaping, please let me know because I'm still thinking about this book. It's been 2 months and I'm still thinking about it. But for lunch, we had dim sum at No Mop Tea Parlor, which was established in the 1920s, and it's still going strong. For good reason. The food was, of course, incredible because Eunice's taste is immaculate, and my favorite was definitely the turnip cakes. And then after that, because we are writers, we took a stroll to the famous You and Me Books, which is relatively new, and it's the first Asian American and only woman-owned bookstore in New York City. It's small and really well curated, so they especially emphasize queer and Asian American and Asian authored books, which of course we love. And my friend Kat and I, who are both debuting next year, we played this little game where we found where our books might be shelved if we were lucky enough to be put in the store. But overall, if you're in the area, highly recommend visiting this bookstore, supporting it. I didn't buy any books somehow, but I bought a little cap for my partner, and he does wear that corduroy cap every single day, so I think I did well with that purchase. After that, we went to park ourselves in a cafe for a bit to work and also to get a sweet treat. So we ended up all splitting this like massive strawberry matcha bingsu and locked in for the afternoon. Well, kind of locked in. I got distracted by this cup of coffee. This is so funny. What the heck? And then finally, to cap it all off, we got dinner at Her Name is Han, which is a trendy Korean restaurant. Honestly, living in the Midwest, I don't get to eat Korean food unless I make it myself, and I was just so happy to be in this moment, eating this food. Kat has lived in Korea for a long time, and then Eunice and I are both Korean Americans, so we were just kind of vibing and enjoying all these dishes. And then to cap it all off, and because it was sadly my last day with these gorgeous souls, we went to the Strand, which is a massive bookstore in Manhattan with an unimaginably wonderful and robust selection of new and used books. And somehow I did manage to resist buying every book that I saw. But then that was sadly it. We parted ways and I headed back to Brooklyn for the last leg of my trip. Oh, I look really tired. I've parted ways with my writing friends back in Brooklyn, so what is going on? What's wrong with me? It was really fun. We got to trot around Manhattan and do all of this like stuff, like go to bookstores and cafes and eat. Just gonna shower now and go to bed, and then tomorrow I have a big day too, so we'll update. Bye. This is Evita. What is she, JD?
A beautiful creature.
A clown, cow, lady, a jester. Are we crazy? It's currently Thursday. It's 50 degrees out. What have I been doing? It kind of occurred to me that I'm on deadline and that this book is due in 5 days. And I'll be sending it to my editor. I actually just had a really lovely coffee chat with my editor in person, which was super lovely, and I totally wasn't anxious at all about it. But no, it was really nice, and it was very cool to like meet in person and talk about things in person and just kind of get to know each other on a personal level. So now I kind of have the rest of the day free. It's only about like 2 p.m. Again, this book is due, but I also have lesson planning to figure out before I go back to school on Monday. So the next portion of the afternoon is going to be work. So yeah, I'll bring you along and you can see a bit of that. This has been a really interesting trip. Lots of like running around, meeting people that I haven't met before, and you know, reconnecting with people that I do know. Yeah, I mean, I think I said this before, but this is really the first time I've been able to visit New York where I actually like knew people who were more established here, and getting to be shown around by them and basically be a little travel princess has been really fun. I do want to lock in and get some work done this afternoon, particularly, okay, so As you all know, I'm mostly done with this revision, but in particular, there's like that piece of the climax that I have to figure out. I want to figure that out. I also want to go back and weave in the threads that build up to that particular moment, because there has to be more build up throughout the rest of the narrative for it to make sense. So we're gonna do a bit of that, a bit of Control F and look for my crutch words. I think I've knocked down the number of times I've used the word I or eyes to like under 200, which is good, but it could be less. Yeah, I don't know why those like micro expressions and little movements are such a crutch for me, and I would like to get rid of them. That's what the rest of the afternoon is gonna be like. And we're going to go actually to a public library in just a second, my friend and I, to work in tandem, parallel play, so I'll bring you along.
Too much. Like it grew to like unheard of size, and we were like, well, I don't know what to do with all this still. Okay, I'm gonna.
You know what I did one time?
Huh? Oh no, it's fine. Keep talking. I'll mute it.
Well, actually, there's a pro tip. You might want to put this in there. I made this potato leek soup recipe, and it called for thyme, and it was like a French recipe. And my friend, I helped her make it, and I was like, that was awesome. I'm gonna make it at my house. She said it was a French recipe. Didn't have time at my like nearest grocery store, and it was late, so I didn't want to go to another store. They had a ton of dill, and so I just made it with dill instead of thyme. It was kind of like a Slavic variant, but it was awesome.
That sounds good. Because thyme isn't very sharp. I feel like the dill would kind of like cut through the creaminess. That sounds good. I'll put that in.
After that little break, JD and I went to the Brooklyn Public Library and found some space to get some work done, and I continued chipping away at my Moth's Blood edits. At this point, I've spent quite a lot of time with this book, but there is a lot of satisfaction in being so close to a milestone like finishing my 3rd revision that doesn't really seem to go away for me. The feedback I got from my editor really helped bring the book into a stronger place, and I kind of loved going through and seeing how the changes that I'd made and that we'd talked about impacted the overall reading experience. I think after this edit, the book is so much richer, and so many of the details and depth have really been given space to shine. Is it Friday?
Yeah.
It's Friday. Our break is almost over and I leave tomorrow morning, sadly. But for today, I really need to lock in and finish the scene/chapter I've been working on for months, so we're going to go to a cafe, work, tandem, parallel play, all that stuff, and then get lunch at this... How would you describe it?
Like, I have this specific, let me pull it up.
Like, it's Korean cuisine that has come out of Central Asia. Korean cuisine that has come out of Central Asia. A type of cuisine that is unique to the region. Koryo saram. That just means Korean person.
Well, but that's the term that's specifically for ethnic Koreans of the Soviet Union.
Well, it's like, Koryo is like the old kingdom. Yeah, we're gonna go there and check that out, because we've been sent on a food mission by Danny. And then, actually at 6. I know, I believe you that it's called that. I was just confused. So work, and then going to that restaurant, and then, I don't know, around until, mess around until I'm actually meeting up with Kelly at 6, so we're finally having our little first in-person meeting, because the last time we tried to meet, it was a whole thing. It was no one's fault, but it was a whole, like, God and the universe were conspiring against us. So hopefully that doesn't happen this time, but I'm so excited to meet Kelly. We're meeting at this like cute restaurant-ish casual dining place in Manhattan, so I'll hop on the train over there and then hop back when we're done. Yeah, so locking in, getting writing done, lunch at this place, I don't know what, big question mark until 6. And that's my last day in New York. I'm so sad about it, actually. Okay, that's the update.
I wanna know how it's like to be self-made, day in and day out like your last day. I don't care what you say as long as I get paid. People chill out when they get laid. Get your mind out the gutter talking about good rest. Imagination flutters, my dream manifests. I say what I say, yeah, I don't stutter, cause I flow smooth like butter. When I blow up, it won't be a blunder. Won't say I'm a one-hit wonder, but I'd be lying if I said I felt this every day. Cause some days I feel I win, some days I'm scared to lose. Some days I think what would happen if I let loose. I wanna spend my time actually living life, not stuck in my room every night. I'm scared to get closed off. I've been feeling so gone.
So thanks to Danny, JD and I got to try out this Korean Uzbeki restaurant, Cafe Lily, which I was talking a little bit about before. It was one of our culinary missions, and it was actually so good. They had these almost kimchi-esque vinegar pickled carrots that like JD and I were obsessed with. Everything was kind of familiar because obviously I grew up eating Korean food, but it had this clear sort of twist in the ingredients or the preparation style, and it was just a really cool experience. So thank you, Danny. Okay. Obviously, I successfully met up with Kelly Tai in person, and after 4 years of talking online, it was actually so surreal to be together in person. We got a light dinner at Hanamizuki Cafe in Manhattan, which specializes in onigiri, and then we were just kind of walking around and randomly popped into probably like the 20th bookstore of my trip.
I read this in like 2 days.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I borrowed it from Eunice, and I was like, I have to finish it and get it back to her, and I cried I cried in public.
Is this like a prequel?
It's Haymitch.
Yeah.
So it's a prequel of his like experience. I was like, this is so traumatic.
Yeah.
After the bookstore, we had to part ways, and that was my very last night in New York. The next morning, I woke up at an unholy hour and got to the airport, and I ended up working and writing through my layover time and my airport time.
Good morning. Is it 6 o'clock? I slept 3 hours last night. I went to bed at 9, and then I kept waking up like around midnight-ish. So update on mods. I finished clearing all of my comments. There's like a little world building detail I want to add, but it's not too serious. One of the questions that editorial had was like, what is Lark's place in this world? Initially, alchemy was like an open thing, like everyone knew it existed and it had a certain place in the world, but I couldn't like really make that work. For some reason, my suspension of disbelief was not happening. So I made it so that alchemy is now more of a secret in the sense that, like, I mean, even now we know that alchemy was practiced back in the day, and so that's kind of the relationship that like the average person would have with that knowledge. Is like alchemy used to be a thing, it's not anymore. In actuality, it is still being practiced in the world of the book. So I've had to like tweak things, like the way the world is described and explained and characters' relationships with it. I think I'm almost there. I think there's just a couple more tweaks that need to be made. My preference would be to sit and have a ton of time with it, but that's just not the reality, and it shouldn't be. Like, I should be able to just do this quickly. So I'm gonna do it quickly and then turn it in on Monday, and I'll film up until that point. Okay.
So it is a beautiful rainy Sunday morning. I'm back in the Midwest. I'm back home. It was such a fun week. Like, I had such a blast this week, but I did miss home. And that's not, I don't know. I feel like as I've gotten older and I've been traveling for pretty much like since I was a teenager pretty regularly, and I've never really experienced homesickness the way I have in the past couple years, I would say, since meeting my partner. So, you know, it's new, it's not bad, but I'm happy to be home. Yesterday was a little bit of a wash. I got home at like 3 and I think I just rotted for the whole day. Honestly, don't really remember it that much, but I was tired after waking up at 4 and having a layover and all of that nonsense. Yeah, I was just absolutely flat out exhausted. I got some good rest, just relaxed a little bit, watched some TV, did some decompression stuff. And although I usually work on Sundays, I just don't have anything scheduled for today. I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing my last pass on MOTHSBLOOD, cleaning up any loose ends, making sure that I didn't miss anything in this revision, because I will be turning it in tomorrow. I am meeting my deadline, which I never thought that I wouldn't be able to do, and I never really considered asking for an extension, although that option was available to me. I guess that's something that was unexpected for me in traditional publishing. I had this impression that you have to really adhere to the guidelines, the deadlines of the company, of the publisher, of your editor, but I think there's a lot more flexibility and understanding for authors and their personhood and their various life situations, which is actually really nice. I feel like I'm being treated like a human being, but the amount of work that was left in that revision was very doable for me in the amount of time I had, which was just about 2 months. So we're wrapping that up today. I'm not going to film it too much, honestly. This is going to be my outro, and we're just going to recap so I can get this over with, and then I don't have to worry about filming, and I can kind of go like full gremlin mode. I did put on some makeup and put on like a nice blouse, but I'm going to put on a sweater very soon because I think I just need to put some headphones in and lock in. Maybe I'll do a little update once I actually turn things in tomorrow to wrap this all up, but we should be on track. And that feels insane to say my first publishing deadline, more or less, is about to be met. I mean, it's a huge milestone. I think, honestly, this part is a little bit more exciting for me than even the whole debacle of getting acquired and, you know, going on submission and all that stuff, because this is the actual work. Like, I have been able to collaborate with a supremely talented editor. We've been able to discuss a project that has primarily lived in my head. Being able to have these rich discussions about the text, it almost feels like a book club or like English class in a good way, but it's about something I've written which feels so special, just to have something I've written be perceived in this way on this professional level. I don't know, it's just super cool to me. And again, I'm a huge sucker for revision work. It's probably my favorite part of the process. But I especially love collaborative revision work for that reason. A little bit of a recap. So, as you all saw, I went on my first ever writing retreat with some very special friends. I honestly was so in the moment that I haven't really looked at my footage yet, but I don't know if there was that much because I was just having a good time. I will say that because New York City is such a fun place, and we were running around, and my friend Eunice is such a big foodie. Also, this is not a sponsorship, but she does query critique services. I've actually been sponsored by her once before to promote them, but you know, she does an excellent job. So I will link that down below just because, you know, she was in the vlog, so I want to promote something that she's done. My other friend, Kat Lewis, has a Substack where she provides this incredible insight into writing, analysis of structure, analysis of the craft in this Substack newsletter. She also has a book coming out, Good People, Simon & Schuster, Summer 26. Just wonderful, supremely talented people. My other friends aren't on like social media so much. Will these ladybugs frickin' leave me alone? My other friends aren't really as active on social media, so not gonna plug them, but obviously so grateful for their presence. But yeah, for Eunice and Kat, please check out their stuff. With that aside, New York City is such a fun place, and I think it was a little bit difficult for me personally, and not complaining at all. This was like one of the most fun weeks I've had in such a long time, and it was so amazing to meet up with everyone, including Kelly, who you saw. But I think next time I do a writing retreat, I'm gonna go into like a cabin in the woods, like maybe not even have Wi-Fi, because I think that when I'm like running around and expending energy on like exploring a city and, you know, going out and eating and all this good stuff, like we did get some really good writing sessions in, but if I want that deep focus, long periods of time writing session, I need to give myself cabin fever. Like I need to be in a secluded remote area. So this is actually something that Kelly and I were chatting about. She was like, because we wanted to do a writing retreat, or we want to do a writing retreat in the future. I was telling her about my experience on this one, and she was like, but if we did one, could we go into like the woods somewhere? And I was like, yes, that sounds perfect. So if I do another writing retreat, which I think I might be addicted to them now, they're so fun, then it might be in the middle of the woods somewhere. You know, all in all, it was an incredible week. I'm just so grateful to have community, and that's also something that I've been missing a lot because I kind of live in a place where I don't have connections with many other writers in my area. Something that, you know, I've kind of struggled with is just making friends as an adult. And I think this was a really good and much needed reminder that I have friends and they just live a little far from me, and that's okay. Even though it was my first time meeting a lot of these people in person, it really just felt like catching up with high school friends. Like it did not feel like we were meeting for the first time. And most of these are friendships that I've had and maintained for years and years and years, and I think it was just a good reminder that I'm not weird and I can make friends, and that online friendships really, truly can and often do hold as much meaning as your in-person friendships. So yeah, it was a really special week. I'm so glad that I got to spend my spring break doing that. I'm going back to the grind first thing tomorrow. I am very excited to go back to school, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. I think there's a lot of other stuff going on that I'm like, I maybe need to reevaluate my life and where my priorities are, but mods will be turned in tomorrow. After that, I just kind of sit and wait for editorial feedback again. And then based off of what my editor thinks of the current draft, we'll see how to proceed from there. And beyond that, now that mods is done, I think I'm going to take a break, or once Moths is done, because we're not quite there yet, I think I am going to take a little bit of a breather. I am itching to get to Crips again, but that context switching I know is going to be really difficult for me because I have, for like the first time in a long time, only focused on mods for the past 2 months. I think getting back into that Crips voice, especially because, I don't know guys, I've been struggling with writing secondary world fantasy. That detachment from my context, my experiences, has been a little bit difficult for me. I mean, name a place that is less like fantasy, necromancer ruled Renaissance Italy, fake Renaissance Italy, than like the rural Midwest. I need to vent some of these feelings about my current setting. I might switch contexts into a little thing that I've been working on that is set in the Midwest. I might explore some short fiction. I just don't want to fully commit to Crips yet, but we'll see how I feel. Lately, I've just really loved writing. I've been so validated, I think that validation, which sounds crappy because, you know, you shouldn't have to require validation from an industry to feel good about your work, but it definitely has motivated me in a way that I haven't felt before, if I'm being honest. I am ready to write, and although I don't know what I'm going to write next, I'm very excited for it, and I think I'm gonna kind of just follow my instincts for a little bit. But enough about that. I'm going to dive into the MOTHSBLOOD revisions. Thank you so much for watching. This was probably an insane vlog to watch, very unstructured. Let's see what I can pull together. But thank you for watching regardless. I hope you enjoyed coming along on my first ever writing retreat with me. Let me know if you've been on a writing retreat before, or alternatively, what your ideal writing retreat would look like. Do you want people there? Do you want to be on your own? Do you want a city context, a forest context, oceanside, lake, tropical? The sky's the limit, we're just playing around. And of course, if you made it to the end, drop a little apple emoji for the big apple, I guess. I'm so original, so creative. If you're interested in seeing more writing vlogs or chats about publishing and writing, then I make those videos pretty regularly, so go ahead and subscribe. I'm gonna go edit now. Bye.